that's an increase in currency outstanding. So your monetary base, which is your R plus your C, is the change is 900. For the person selling the bond and for the banks, it's just a swap of assets, right? You're swapping one type of asset for a different type of asset. There's really no change in the liability side. Okay, any question? Okay, the money multiplier problems, one of the things you might notice is I didn't give half credit for getting the multiplier right. I gave a little less than half. And the reason is that I put the formula right on the board. So it was really just a plugging in exercise. And as I had mentioned, the key thing was understanding how to use the multiplier. So the multiplier was 16.28, but then the question is, how much does the Fed need to change the monetary base to achieve an increase in M2 of 100? So the change in M2 is going to be equal to the money multiplier times the change in the monetary base. And so you just plug in how much you want M2 to go up, and so obviously the change in the monetary base is going to be 100 divided by 16.28, or was 6.14. All right, so I gave 5 points for the second part of the question, and 3 points for solving for the multiplier. ISLM people didn't have too much trouble with. This was just simply a increase in the money supply, but you needed to have labels. And also I did take off if you didn't have the right labels on your entries in the balance sheets. The increase in the money supply should have been a rightward shift in the LM curve. Some of you mislabeled, or I don't know, the downward sloping curve was labeled as LM. That's obviously problematic. So you want your upward sloping curve as your LM curve, and that should be showing shifting to the right. For number 4, when the Fed lends to a bank, the loan goes on the asset side because that's money owed to the Fed. And basically the way these discount loans work is that the Fed then just credits the commercial bank reserve account with the amount of the loan. So for Wells Fargo, the corresponding entries would be, again, these reserves are the same as these reserves, right? They're owned by Wells Fargo, so they're an asset to Wells Fargo, they're a liability to the Fed. And then the borrowings, the discount loan borrowed by Wells Fargo goes on the liability side because they owe that money back to the Fed. I don't think I'm going to go over number 5 because it was just like number 2, using the money multiplier formula. For the ISLM model, you wanted to use the 2 equilibrium conditions, right, that define. So this one defines the IS curve, this one defines the LM curve, and AE, of course, is your consumption, your investment, and your government spending, right? And and then you can substitute for taxes, the amount of the taxes, which is 1,000. And the key thing, and this was a problem if you didn't get this part of it right, is you have to use the equilibrium condition. So once you have the AE function, then you set y equal to the AE function, and solve for y. And when you did, you would get y equal 5,000 minus 100i. Money supply equal money demand is your LM curve. And so the LM curve was simply money supply, 1,200, equal money demand, which is 0.4y minus 40i. And again, that simplifies to y equal 3,000 plus 100i. So that's your LM. And then you set the IS and LM curve equal to each other. And then solve for the interest rate, and then plug that interest rate back into either curve to get the equilibrium GDP. So you should have got an interest rate of 10 and a level of GDP of 4,000.